Thanks for staying with us. Time now for Across Africa, our weekly look at stories from across the continent. I'm Georgia Calvin-Smith, and this week Tunisia has an out-of-this-world day by launching its first satellite. An unmanned Russian rocket took off from Kazakhstan to send the Challenge 1 into orbit. Also, a gold rush in eastern Cameroon tarnishes the ecosystem and endangers the country's last bloat of hippos. Several of the animals have turned up dead, and environmentalists suspect that's linked to badly managed and toxic mining operations. And we take a look at the work of two Nigerian fashion designers who are weaving traditional West African fabrics into spectacular contemporary creations. But first, in a landmark achievement, Tunisia's first satellite, the Challenge 1, was launched after a 2-day delay. It headed up into orbit on Monday on a Russian rocket from Kazakhstan. Our team tell us more about the historic moment.
Of this beautiful rocket on its flight.
A symbolic first step into space. At 7:09 a.m. Tunis time, the first Tunisian satellite, Challenge 1, entered orbit on a Russian rocket. In the command room in Tunis, the emotion was palpable, especially for this young engineer who contributed to making it.
On a beaucoup travaillé durant plusieurs années pour en arriver là. C'était le fruit de notre travail. Ça me fait rejoindre les étoiles d'une certaine façon. Voilà.
President Kais Saied, who attended the launch, emphasized the important role of young people.
هؤلاء العلماء الذين انتشروا في كل مكان في أصقاع الأرض وها هم اليوم بإمكانياتهم الذاتية يخرجون من الفضاء الجوي عن طريق القمر الاصطناعي.
1 week before the launch, the company Telnet was preparing the final details of this 100% Tunisian project. The team developed the tool through which the satellite will transmit data about objects connected to the internet.
Donc l'idée qu'on a eu le groupe Telnet, c'est d'utiliser l'espace comme passerelle ou comme moyen de transmettre les données qui sont dans des zones, ce qu'on appelle des zones blanches ou des zones inaccessibles.
For the company CEO, Mohamed Fricha, this satellite is the first step before establishing an African network.
Aujourd'hui, on veut partager cette connaissance et ce transfert de connaissances avec les pays africains, avec nos pays frères africains, et on veut faire participer à certains pays à lancer aussi leurs propres satellites.
For 7 years, Challenge 1 will orbit the Earth at a speed of 8 kilometers per second, time enough to make other space dreams come true.
Now, trailblazing Egyptian writer and feminist Nawal Saadawi has passed away aged 89. The trained doctor spent a lifetime fighting for women's rights and penned dozens of books. She was a brave and leading voice in defense of her values and at times risked her life and liberty to speak up.
An outspoken women's rights campaigner, prolific writer and doctor, Nawal Saadawi died at the age of 89 on Sunday after a long illness. She spent a lifetime as an advocate of women's rights in Egypt, the Arab world and beyond.
She always contributed something through her singular style of writing and talking about the problems faced by women. This was a woman who was always known for her audacity, her courage, her sense of freedom, and sometimes for posing a threat in a society deeply rooted in religious ideologies, beliefs, and traditions.
Her writings focused mainly on feminism, domestic violence against women and religious extremism. Saadawi was a vocal opponent of female genital mutilation, which she herself was subjected to at the age of 6. Saadawi's views caused her to face several legal challenges, as well as accusations of apostasy by Islamists. She was born in October 1931 in a village just north of Cairo and went on to study medicine at Cairo University and New York's Columbia University. She worked as a physician, psychiatrist and university lecturer and authored over 55 books. In 1981, she was arrested and jailed for 2 months during a political crackdown by then-President Anwar Sadat. She was also among the tens of thousands of protesters in Cairo's Tahrir Square demanding the ouster of longtime leader Hosni Mubarak during Egypt's 2011 revolution.
She wants to say, I am more powerful than all that. And he is using the police and the army. He is using all the powers inside and outside to oppress, to stop this voice. But it's useless. He failed. He failed. No way. No way.
Nawal al-Saadawi was married 3 times and is survived by a daughter and a son.
Now, Lake Victoria in East Africa is increasingly and visibly impacted by climate change. Water levels have risen, putting residents of villages on the banks of the lake at risk of flooding. A look now at the impact along one stretch of coastline in Tanzania.
For some Tanzanians, living on the shores of Lake Victoria has become a nightmare. Authorities said the water level reached a record 13.42 metres a few days ago. The previous record for Africa's biggest lake was established in 1964. The floods here have lasted for months.
Majani zetu, ndugu zetu wengi sana sasa hivi hatupo nao, wengi wamehama makazi yao na wengine kwa sababu ya uwezo wa chini tumeshindwa kuhama kwa sababu hatuna uwezo kujenga makazi mengine na tumetegemea huku.
The flooding has brought new challenges for residents who have nowhere else to go.
Afu kuna kama wadudu hatari wanaingia, kama ni ndani, kama ni hapo hivi kuna wadudu hapo, maji yanavyoingia ndani na wadudu baadhi wanaingia kwa maji yanatoa asili namna hiyo.
Environmentalists say climate change has worsened the situation. They have put forward several solutions. They say trees should be planted along rivers and channels should be built to carry floodwater away from the lake. It would be sent towards reservoirs to use for livestock and irrigation. Another policy would be to construct dams to regulate the amount of water flowing into Lake Victoria.
A gold rush in eastern Cameroon has scarred the landscape and ravaged the ecosystem. Open pits left behind by informal miners are seldom filled in, and the mercury used to recover the precious metal pollutes the environment and endangers wildlife, including one of the country's last bloat of hippos. Several have turned up dead over the last year. Our team reports.
Open pit on a riverbank, one of the countless gold mining sites along the Saadawi River, home to one of the last bloat of hippos in eastern Cameroon. The hippo population in eastern Cameroon is in danger of becoming extinct. After several hours, just a few raise their heads above the water. Justin Jakowa, head of a nature conservation NGO, is at the river to count the animals. Today, only about 20 remain, compared to 110 years ago. Over the past 6 months, 3 of them were found dead here. The activist believes the mysterious deaths are linked to gold mining operations.
L'hippopotame, c'est une espèce intégralement protégée, donc la population est en forte diminution, aussi bien au Cameroun qu'à travers l'Afrique centrale. Parce qu'avec les activités minières qui se font de plus en plus croissantes dans ces zones, leur habitat écologique devient de plus en plus fragile.
C'est de là qu'il se trouvait.
This local filmed the carcass of the last hippo that died by the river a few weeks ago. The community is worried.
Nous, on se sent mal à l'aise puisque si les hippopotames là continuent toujours à mourir comme ça, là, même nos petits frères, nos petits-fils, même nos fils là, n'auront plus le temps de voir les hippopotames.
Conservationists say mercury is the main cause of the hippos' deaths. Several mining companies in the region spill the toxic substance into the river. Justin tests water quality regularly and says it shows how harmful the element is to the ecological habitat.
La turbidité de cette eau est très élevée et donc qui n'est pas propice notamment aux poissons et même aux hippopotames qui sont là. On peut voir des huiles qui traînent sur ces eaux-là et ces huiles-là sont des lubrifiants et donc toutes ces activités concourent à la dégradation de cette eau.
Ecologists have raised the alarm, pointing out the devastating cost of the gold rush for the area's priceless biodiversity.
A pair of young Nigerian designers cut from a different cloth are turning out a line of new designs using traditional textiles using artisanal techniques. They're set on looking to the past to create modern Nigerian looks. Wasim Korne with more.
This Lagos workshop is humming with the sound of sewing machines as Temaye Benitie's designs come to life.
My name is Temaye Benitie and I'm a fashion designer based in Lagos, Nigeria. and I work with a traditional hand-woven Nigerian fabric called ashoke.
Ashoke is a hand-woven cloth indigenous to the Yoruba people. Historically, it was used on special occasions, and Benicie wanted to make sure the younger generation is also proud of that heritage.
We're sort of preserving the culture, that we've watched all our lives in front of us. Weddings have tons and tons of ashoke, so we're sort of trying to just do it anew and continue doing it and sort of teach it to the younger generation. It's something to be proud of. It's something to sort of want to wear.
Fellow Lagos designer Lisa Folawiu specializes in a different kind of cloth. This one is called Ankara, and she's called her collection Batkara, as it incorporates batik designs into the final product.
It's always about using our local fabrics in addition to silks and other fabrications or textures, and creating modern silhouettes and creating fashion that I feel is beyond boundaries.
And businesses have responded to this shift in African fashion.
The industry is growing to be more relevant to people's lifestyles. And now we're thinking of African luxury in terms of how we live on a day-to-day basis. So it's not just occasionally, it's not just for celebratory moments, it's also for our everyday moments.
This new generation of designers also hopes the promotion of these clothes and patterns will help empower local artisans and ensure the know-how continues to be passed on.
Well, that's it for Across Africa. Thanks for joining us, and do so again if you can. Till then, take care.